Good morning, Virgo. Hmm. Okay, Virgo, what I'm about to reveal exists in shadows most readers never access. Stay, because what you're about to hear changes everything you thought you understood about what's coming for you. There are readers who see surface patterns, pleasant futures, comfortable predictions that soothe rather than shake. I'm not that reader. I go deeper into territories where light doesn't reach easily, where truth wears darker face, where what's approaching you isn't simple blessing or straightforward challenge, but something far more complex, far more dangerous, far more transformative than anything your conscious mind has prepared for. And what I'm seeing right now in the energetic field surrounding your name, your essence, your timeline, it's making my blood run cold, not because it's evil, not because it's doomed, but because it's massive, it's unstoppable, and you're standing directly in its path, completely unaware that collision is imminent. This isn't warning you can afford to dismiss. This isn't message you can save for later when convenient. Later doesn't exist here. Later is luxury you no longer have. What's building in invisible realms, what's gathering momentum in spaces between thought and manifestation, what's preparing to break through the veil and remake your entire existence, that arrives soon, arrives suddenly, arrives with force, that doesn't ask permission, doesn't wait for readiness, doesn't care whether you believe in it or not, because belief is irrelevant when reality itself is shifting beneath your feet. The reason I'm speaking like this, the reason darkness edges every word, isn't dramatization, it's accuracy. What approaches you operates outside normal rules, outside comfortable paradigms, outside safe categories of good thing happening or bad thing happening, because it's both. It's neither, it's transformation so complete that good and bad become meaningless distinctions when measured against sheer magnitude of change that's coming. You're about to be initiated. Whether you're ready or not, let me show you what waits in the dark, what's been circling you, studying you, preparing to claim you for purposes you don't understand yet, but will understand very soon, perhaps too soon. In ancient mystery traditions, in occult systems that predate modern spiritual bypassing, there exists concept of the dark night. Not metaphor, not poetry, actual experience where initiate gets stripped down to nothing, gets destroyed systematically, gets taken apart piece by piece until what remains is either shattered beyond repair or forged into something harder, sharper, more powerful than what existed before the breaking. Mm, this isn't gentle spiritual growth. This isn't trust the journey nonsense. This is brutal transformation that breaks people who aren't strong enough, that creates monsters from those who respond with bitterness, that forges legends from rare few who survive with integrity intact. You're entering your dark night. It's already begun. You've felt the edges of it, the strange heaviness, the sense that something's shifting, the way reality feels slightly unstable lately, like you're walking on ground that might give way, is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than. That instability is accurate perception. Ground is giving way. What you've built your life on, what you've trusted as solid, what you've believed about who you are and what you're capable of and what your limitations are. All of it is about to be tested, challenged, demolished so thoroughly that reconstruction becomes only option and what gets rebuilt won't resemble what stood before. Here's what's coming. Here's what I see in the shadows gathering around your energy signature and betrayal by someone you never suspected. Not the obvious suspect, not the person you already don't trust, someone close, someone who's been playing long game, positioning themselves, waiting for perfect moment to strike, and that moment approaches rapidly because they sense you're about to level up, about to access power or position or recognition that threatens them. And their strategy is to strike before you're fully empowered, while you're still vulnerable, while betrayal can still damage you, before you become too strong to damage. This person wears trusted face, speaks loyal words, performs friendship or love or support while underneath, in places you can't see, in conversations you're not part of, in decisions made without your knowledge. They're building case against you. They're positioning themselves to take what's yours. They're preparing narrative where they emerge innocent, even heroic, while you emerge villain in story you didn't know was being written, with you cast as antagonist. The betrayal will be public, will be devastating, will make you question your judgment about people because how did you not see this? How did you trust someone so thoroughly who was capable of such calculated destruction? Is less than Hazone. Zero hash is greater than. But here's the dark gift hidden in the betrayal. It removes your naivete. It kills the part of you that trusts too easily, that gives benefit of doubt too readily, that believes people are fundamentally good even when they demonstrate they're fundamentally self-serving. That part of you dies in the betrayal, doesn't wound it, kills it. And what rises from that death is you without illusions, you without pleasant delusions about human nature, you with eyes that see clearly, that read people accurately, that recognize predators before they strike because you've been struck and you learned. This reflection invites you to consider who in your circle feels slightly off lately, and why have you been ignoring that instinct? Second element of your dark night, sudden loss of something you believed was permanent. Relationship that ends without warning. Position you thought was secure that evaporates. Health you took for granted that fails. Financial stability that collapses. Whatever you've been leaning on, whatever's been holding you up, whatever you've been using as foundation for your sense of security, it's not as solid as you think. It's not as reliable as you've been assuming. And when it goes, when it suddenly isn't there anymore, the free fall will be terrifying because you won't have a backup plan, won't have safety net, won't have anything to catch you except the ground rushing up to meet you at devastating speed. This isn't about positive thinking preventing disaster. This isn't about manifesting better outcomes is less than Hazone. Zero hash is greater than. This is about reality operating on its own schedule, stripping away what you've outgrown but refused to release voluntarily, taking from you what you needed to lose but wouldn't let go of because losing felt too scary, too destabilizing, too much like death, even though what dies is what was killing you slowly, invisibly, through providing false security that prevented you from building real security that can't be taken. The loss is coming. Fighting it won't prevent it, denying it won't stop it. What you can control is how you fall. Do you fall apart? Do you shatter into pieces that can't be reassembled? Do you let the loss define you as victim, as someone life happened to, as someone who never recovered from the thing that broke them? Or do you fall like Phoenix falls, with full knowledge that falling precedes rising, that burning precedes rebirth? That destruction of old form is necessary prerequisite for emergence of new form that couldn't exist while old form was still occupying space. Third element, temptation that tests your integrity at deepest level. Opportunity will present itself, seemingly perfect, seemingly aligned with everything you want, but there will be catch, there will be compromise required. There will be piece of yourself or your values you'll have to sacrifice to take what's offered. Easy money that comes from source that's ethically questionable. Advancement that requires throwing someone else under bus. Recognition that demands you betray someone's trust. Love that requires you abandon someone who depends on you. Power that costs your principles. And the temptation will be real, will be powerful, will be dressed in justifications that make saying yes seem reasonable. Everyone does this. It's just business. I deserve this after everything I've been through. The other person would do the same to me. No one needs to. No. The ends justify the means. All the rationalizations that people use when they're about to sell a piece of their soul for something they want badly enough to pretend the cost isn't real. This is the test. This is where Dark Knight reveals what you're made of. Do you take the deal? Do you compromise? Do you tell yourself, it's fine, it's necessary, it's just this once, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme? Or do you refuse? Do you hold your line? Do you say no even when no costs you something substantial, even when no means staying in struggle longer, even when no means watching opportunity go to someone with fewer scruples? Your answer determines what emerges from the dark night. Compromise your integrity, and what emerges is hollow success, power without substance, victories that feel empty because you know what you traded for them. Hold your integrity, and what emerges is you forged in fire, you tempered by trial, you proven to yourself that you're someone who can be trusted with power, because power doesn't corrupt you, doesn't make you into someone you wouldn't respect. This reflection invites you to consider, what's the thing you most want right now, and what would you be willing to do to get it? Fourth element, and this is where it gets truly dark, confrontation with your shadow self is less than has home. Zero hash is greater than. Not the sanitized shadow that modern spirituality talks about, not the comfortable, I have some negative traits I need to integrate, the real shadow, the parts of you that are capable of genuine harm, the rage that wants to destroy, the jealousy that wants others to fail, the vindictiveness that wants revenge, the cruelty that enjoys others' pain, the manipulative, calculating part that would use people without conscience if it served your purposes, the cowardice that would sacrifice others to protect yourself, the greed that would take more than its share without caring who goes without. These parts exist in you, they exist in everyone. Denying them doesn't make them disappear, makes them stronger, makes them operate underground where you can't see what they're doing, where they influence choices without your conscious awareness. The dark night brings them into light, forces you to see them, forces you to acknowledge that you're not just a good person having bad thoughts. You're a complex person with capacity for both remarkable light and devastating darkness. And what you do with that knowledge, how you integrate that reality, determines whether you become integrated, powerful, whole person, or whether you stay fractured, pretending your shadow doesn't exist while it sabotages everything you're trying to build. Meeting your shadow is terrifying because it destroys your self concept as good person. You're not good person, you're person capable of good and capable of harm, and which capacity you feed, which impulses you follow, which voice you listen to when your light and your dark are both whispering suggestions about how to handle difficult situations is less than hashone. Zero hash is greater than. That's what determines who you actually are versus who you think you are or who you pretend to be. This reflection invites you to consider: what's the darkest thought you've had recently that you immediately suppressed because acknowledging it felt too dangerous? Now, here's what waits on the other side. If you survive the dark night, if you navigate the betrayal without becoming bitter, if you handle the loss without shattering, if you refuse the corrupt temptation despite its appeal, if you meet your shadow and integrate it without being consumed by it, what emerges is you transformed at fundamental level. You become dangerous, not in sense of harmful, in sense of powerful, in sense of someone who can't be manipulated because you've seen through manipulation, someone who can't be intimidated because you've faced worse than anything others can threaten you with, someone who can't be corrupted because you've already refused corruption when refusing cost you substantially, someone who can't be broken because you've been broken and you rebuilt yourself into something stronger than what existed before the breaking. This version of you, this forged in darkness version, operates on different level than people who've never been through dark night. You see more clearly, you move more powerfully, you command presence that makes others uncomfortable, because presence that's been through darkness and emerged intact carries weight, carries authority, carries power that can't be manufactured or performed. Only earned through surviving what would destroy lesser versions of yourself is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than. People will sense the change without understanding what changed. They'll treat you differently, give you more space, listen more carefully, challenge you less readily. Not because you're aggressive or threatening, but because you carry energy of someone who's been to underworld and returned, someone who's seen the worst and survived it, someone who operates from place beyond normal fear, because normal fear lives in anticipation of bad things happening, and you've already had the bad things happen. You've already survived what you were afraid of. So fear loses its grip, loses its power to control you. And what replaces fear is calm certainty that regardless of what comes, you'll handle it, you'll survive it, you'll find way through it because you always have, because you're still here. But this power, this transformation, this emergence as someone fundamentally different from who you were before the dark night, it only comes through enduring the dark night, through not running from it, not numbing through it, not bypassing the actual work of facing what needs facing, feeling what needs feeling, learning from experiences that would be easier to avoid if avoidance were option. And it's not option. The dark night is coming, is already here, is unfolding whether you acknowledge it or resist it. So stop everything. Stop the distraction, stop the denial, stop the pretending you don't feel the shadows gathering. Face what's coming, prepare for the trials. Decide now who you're going to be when tested, because deciding in advance creates foundation that holds when everything else is crumbling, creates anchor that keeps you steady when every external structure is collapsing is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than. The dark night doesn't ask permission. It takes everyone it chooses. You've been chosen. What emerges from darkness depends entirely on how you move through it. Meet the betrayal with eyes open. Accept the loss with dignity. Refuse the corrupt temptation with clarity. Face your shadow with courage. And on the other side, you'll be unrecognizable. Transformed, dangerous in the best sense, powerful in ways that serve rather than harm, forged into weapon against everything that tried to break you, everything that failed because you were stronger than they knew, stronger than you knew, until darkness tested you and you discovered exactly how strong you actually are. This is your initiation. Welcome to the dark night. There's no turning back now. Only through, only forward, only becoming what you're meant to become through surviving what's designed to destroy you.